Listen, it's called Boop the musical.
It's called Boop.
If something says Boop on it,
Yeah.
and you don't either think it's time to take an edible or
Yes.
I'll go to that,
Yeah.
fuck you.
Please welcome to the mic, Casey Balsham. It's Broadway, bitch.
Hello, welcome back to It's Broadway, bitch. It's me, it's Casey. It's still me, your best friend, your internet mommy. No, I should never call myself that again. But I'm so excited for my guest today. So many credits, so many excellent things. Chicago waitress, currently in Boop on Broadway. Madam Secretary, Bull, Jersey Boys, the movie, and the stage. And not only that, but you're also this like crazy producer, philanthropist. Like you are, which I want to get into, but you're incredibly impressive. It's Erich Bergen, everyone.
Thank you. Please sit.
Please, everybody.
Internet's mommy?
Internet's mommy. I know. I said it, and then I was like, why did you say that? I think I instantly felt it. I was like, you've never said that before in your life?
Well, listen, we've just met, but
Yeah.
I get that vibe.
Internet mommy?
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to go with it.
Go with it.
Getting a new tattoo tomorrow.
Okay, maybe there's a tattoo place downstairs I saw.
Okay, take me after.
Okay, good.
If you sponsor it, I'll get it right on my forehead. Erich Bergen, like I said, you've done so many things, and as I was like looking you up, because you did all these like fundraisers and benefits and Zoom events and all these things that raised so much money, and it made me laugh so hard because of the character that you play in Boop, who is just this like kind of like dirtbag mayor guy running for mayor, and it's just like so opposite of the shit that you actually do in real life. Like how fun was it to play a character that just has zero redeeming qualities?
Oh, it's a dream come true.
Yeah.
I mean, I've played most of the parts that I've played over the years, and in TV or film or any medium really, they've all been kind of like good people, just really good-hearted people.
Yeah.
And this has been very, very fun to shake it up a bit. I mean, there is not one redeeming quality about the current character I play other than, a good suit selection.
Right.
He's a good tailor.
He's well dressed.
He's very well dressed.
He's very well dressed.
And that's about it. I have a nice song to sing in the show.
You have a very fun song to sing.
Yeah.
It is like kind of, I mean, there's little quips throughout the thing, but this is kind of like the comedic break. Like this is the song that is like it's the funniest part of the show.
Listen, Boop
to me.
Well, and you are everything,
comedian.
and you are. I made you laugh.
My judgment, my thoughts they go far.
Yes,
in this world.
I understand.
They go far in this world.
Listen, Boop the musical it's in the fucking title, right? Can we curse?
Yeah, it's in the title of this podcast as well.
Oh, that's
it's
true.
Broadway, bitch. This is a funny thing, too, about Broadway actors. Every single one of you asks if you can curse.
Really?
Yes.
Well,
I'm like, we're grown-ups here.
Yeah, but
you do what you want, Eric. Eric, there's no fucking rules here. I'm the internet mommy, and I say yes.
I guess that, okay, fantastic, great. If mom says yes.
Mom says yes.
Listen, it's called Boop the musical.
It's called Boop.
If you have questions before you go into Boop the musical, it's not the show for you.
Yeah.
If something says Boop on it, and you don't either think it's time to take an edible or I'll go to that.
Yeah.
If you've thought more like, well, does it speak to my fuck you? Yeah. It's the most fun.
What's the cultural impact of the Boop the musical?
What is the what?
The cultural impact.
Oh, the cultural
Boop
impact?
The musical.
Cultural impact.
What is the impact? Yeah, it's Boop! Exclamation point.
It's Betty Boop. Listen,
Yes.
we say it in the show. She means different things to different people.
Yeah.
She is a symbol.
Yeah.
She's a sex symbol. She's an empowerment symbol.
Yeah.
She is many different things. She's been alive for nearly 100 years.
Yeah.
And I think that, but what's interesting is also we've never seen her come to life. There's never been a movie. There's never, other than the original shorts back in the 30s or 40s, whatever that was. But, there's never been any kind of certainly modern day come to life for Betty. So this is the first time that we've shown Betty, that the Betty Boop people have shown Betty in this way really come to life since those original shorts. And it is like eating cotton candy. It's pure joy.
It's sugary pop like colors.
Absolutely.
It's very silly to want it to be more than that, because that is a perfect way to say it. Like, it's candy. It's a bag full of freaking candy. And
it is like one of the best nights out you can have.
Yeah.
When I tell you that when I got this call and they said, would you do Boop the musical?
Yeah.
I literally, I tried to, if there was a sound for an eye roll, I made it to my agents. Because the thought of that was so utterly ridiculous,
Yes.
right? It's like, is this really what we need right now?
Yeah.
Like, are we really, it's called Boop? Like, what's happening? And then I heard who was involved,
Right.
and I thought, well, I trust every single one of those people.
Yeah.
Jerry Mitchell as director, choreographer, Bob
Yeah.
Martin as the book writer, Susan Birkenhead as lyricist, and David Foster as the music writer.
Yeah.
Those are not for,
unknowns.
Right.
They're not newbies.
They're not newbies.
No.
And they all are some of the smartest people I know.
Yeah.
And so I read it, fell in love with it, thought it was hilarious,
Yeah.
and thought it would be fun to do this part. And I'm so glad I said yes, because it's I have the best seat in the house. First of all, I get to watch Jasmine Amy Rogers.
She's incredible.
No, it's on another level.
It's really crazy that I was, reading her thing, and I know she's like, been doing stuff, but that this is kind of like her big thing when she's so talented.
It's like
she doesn't miss.
No, she doesn't miss. It's a little like
miss.
Lucille Ball. It's very watching her bring the character to life in rehearsals, but even every night. I mean, it's a little weird that she just becomes Betty Boop, and not in like an actory way. It's like,
that's the one thing when I was watching that I was like, I fully believe that this chick is Betty Boop.
That's right.
Like I was kind of like,
yeah,
because I was, again, I went in there being like, Boop. Okay, we're booping.
Right.
We're bopping. We're booping.
That's right.
I'm not going to expect, I'm going to expect a Betty Boop musical.
Yeah.
And it was like she so personified that character in a way that was like very lovingly. Like she was great. And the fact that now, I'm on the Reddits and the talks and the ticks and stuff like that.
Oh God, why?
I have to be. I know. Do you know what? It's crazy. I'm a grown up on TikTok and it feels very terrible.
Well, TikTok is but Reddit, my God, really?
Well, there's a lot of Broadway stuff on Reddit. And
there is?
So oh my God, there's tons of Broadway stuff on Reddit. They are talking about y'all. There is so much happening on Reddit. And they're putting her up against, Audra and Nicole. And you're like, yeah.
Putting her up against
for Tony's. Yeah. No, they're fighting. They're gonna go fisticuffs behind the Broadhurst.
Oh yeah. And by the way, we're all on 44th Street.
Yes.
Literally Sunset, Gypsy, and we're all next to each other.
Yes, you are. And Smash is right there too.
Smash is
y'all
right across the alley.
But the fact that they're even putting her, that they're like,
well, she deserves it. I mean,
absolutely.
she's giving one of those performances that you will remember forever. I remember seeing Sutton Foster do it in Thoroughly Modern Millie. I remember seeing, I'm not that old, but well, I guess I am. No, I mean, listen, this is a performance of a lifetime, and I don't mean that in some like weird marketing way. This is just one of those performances that you will be able to say, I saw. It's like the people who can say they saw Streisand do Funny Girl back in the day.
Yeah,
it's
her first kind of like.
This performance demands to be seen. It really demands to be seen. And I get to watch her do it every night, which is kind of a thrill in its own self. And then I get to watch the audience. And I don't get to just watch the audience from the stage when I'm on stage, but...
Is there a peephole at the Broadhurst?
The what?
A peephole?
Oh, no.
I'm told that some of the theaters have a peephole, so you can look at the audience.
Wow, I didn't know about that.
Yeah.
No, in the moments where I'm not on stage, I walk outside the stage door and I walk through the front door of the lobby and I go and I stand in the back every single night.
Really?
Yeah, I stand in the back and watch. And sometimes I'll sit on the bar when it's closed, and I'll sit up on the bar and I watch it.
Bartender's like, here comes Eric.
Well, yeah, clear path. Yeah, exactly. Getting to watch the audience lose their mind every night, and in Act 2, I start to tear up because the show also has this big heart too. It's not just fluff. I mean, it really does deliver deliver in the end. And it's a love
everyone
letter to
except
New York
for
City.
your character.
Everyone except, well, you ever see that? What's that Family Guy meme where it's like, if you the song gets better as people still join the song. They make fun of musicals where it's like more people join the song and then the song will get better. And now even the bad guy is singing along, and it's like, oh my God, that's literally because I get
towards the end when you're in the thing.
I get
5,
to be
6,
in the
7,
finale,
8, which is really fun.
It's just all fun. It's just stupid fun, and I think that it's very nice in the world that we live in today, which is kind of
stupid,
chaotic,
bad,
and
awful.
Well,
terrible. Smelly.
Listen, it's not all
Gross.
bad, but it's certainly chaotic. I mean, I don't tend to get dark about those kinds of things. I always tend to, be an.
I mean, this is why I go to things like Boop.
Right.
Because I want to be. I like the lightness of theater. I mean, not all theater is light, but I like being able to just check out for a little bit and just focus on other things, because I think I can get dark. So it's nice to hear that there are. That's nice to hear that there's a way not to.
And I think there's some
show
people.
me the way.
Right. I think there's some people. My mom will always call me and ask for new TV show recommendations, and I have to always put it through the filter of what is not going to make her cortisol levels. Well, because she lives in a very, she's very high strung. Sorry, Mom. She is watching.
I know, and she has a podcast too.
Yes, she does.
She has a podcast.
That's very true. So, I recommended Severance to her. And she got through. I think she said 3 minutes, and she said, "Nope, I'm not.
Can't do it.
There's a woman lying on a table, and I am not."
No explanation.
No, the level of stress that she can handle is about whatever the most high risk conflict on an episode of Mary Tyler Moore is about her level of what she can handle.
Someone's misplaced the peanuts.
That's right. That's exactly right.
We have to find the peanuts.
Who can turn the world on? It has to be at that level of joy for my mother to enjoy. And there's a lot of people like that. And I think that Boop is, if you are someone who loves a good true crime podcast, Boop is maybe not for you. Or maybe, just another side of yourself. Maybe it is for you.
Maybe it's a break from listening to people being murdered constantly.
Yes.
I used to do true crime, and it was like the minute I had a kid, I was like, I can't fucking do this anymore. I can't listen to these things.
What
it was
is
crazy.
The appeal?
I think
I don't
just
get
because
it.
there's so much of it. I don't know if it's just that we're just it's just kind of fed to it. Even people, I follow People magazine on Instagram, and even every other People story is a murder, and you're just right. I follow this because I want to know, what color is Kim's hair? I'm trying to follow this for stupid shit, and it's and I don't know if it is just pure numbers, that there is so much, or that it is just because fantasy is not the right word to use, but I don't know if people just like to. I don't think they like it. I think it's just fascinating, because I don't think people are also I don't think they're listening to it to get tips on how to do it, or how to get away from it.
How-to show. Yeah, I've never understood it. I've never understood the true crime thing. I've never understood. I got an audition sent to me some time ago, and the subject line came in, and it said appointment for Erich Bergen - John Bonet, and I was just
no, thanks.
I'm not. This is not where not for me.
It's crazy.
I don't get it.
And also, I mean, that happened how many years ago? And people are still we're going to figure it out. You're you're not going to.
I think there's, listen, that grabbed people's attentions for one reason or another. The Menendez brothers, the OJ trial, there are certain things that grab people's attention, but it's like you said, the volume of true crime.
So much. I mean, they pop out these documentaries every second.
Who knew that was that many dead people?
There's so many people that are deceased. There are so many deceased.
There's so many deceased.
There's so many deceased. Let's see. I want to say this is going to be this is going to be a transition that kind of goes with deceased, because you as the mayor.
Wait.
I wanted to see if you.
This segue. I'm so excited. I'm sorry. I'm going to gird your loins. Go ahead.
This segue is kind of perfect. That if you actually were a mayor, what would your most ridiculous platform be if you were to run for mayor? And I'm talking like something like, I mean, it could be let's stop deceasing the deceased, or it could be something like, listen, we need more ice cream. I don't know. What is your most
What would the most ridiculous
What's your
one
most
be?
ridiculous platform if Erich Bergen is mayor?
If you were running for New York City, running for mayor of New York City, I mean, the most ridiculous might be like, I'm a good person and I'll do things properly and on time.
I won't assault anyone.
Right. I mean, it's so ridiculous.
Yes.
I don't. The most ridiculous thing. Free musical theater for all.
Oh, free musical theater.
Sure. Well, you said ridiculous. You didn't
say ridiculous. I was like, don't tell my credit card because she's in debt. Mama's in debt from loving this.
Well, that's why it has to be free musical theater.
I know.
I do
and
think
not in a park. Free in a theater.
Yes. First of all, this whole
can I go indoors?
Outdoor theater thing, outdoor. First of all, the outdoors as a general concept is we invented Hiltons for a reason.
I know.
It's like camping to me. I have never understood the appeal. Now, this maybe because I'm a Jew, but the idea of camping, that is not, why is that a thing? Yeah. We literally built hotels so that we could go to a place and then sleep in air conditioning. Yeah. And then if we want to go outside in the day and do things, that's, I'm still not doing that, but that is up to you. It's the sleeping in the tent part that's we've moved past
zippers?
this.
You don't like the zippers? You don't like this? You don't want to sleep in a windbreaker?
I don't want to sleep in a windbreaker. I mean, I'll sleep in a windbreaker that I can wear,
you
but
like sit on
in
a log
group
all
windbreaker,
night?
no.
Just stare at a fire?
I don't get
it. You know what? That's what camping is. I did a lot of camping when I was younger. You really just sit around and watch a fire for hours.
Yeah.
Hours.
I
went when I was little before you could drink. Hours.
But this is another thing that you can do indoors. We have fireplaces. We figured this out already.
We have lodges. They give you hot cocoa.
That's right.
That's excellent.
So I don't, in that same vein, I don't understand outdoor theater. I'm very happy that the Shakespeare in the Park, the Delacorte is being rebuilt and will be wonderful. I'm very excited that those people that love sitting through 4-hour plays in the sticky
heat. Can do it on a stone.
Well, what could be more fun, really?
And guess what? Sometimes you can't find. It's hard to find too.
Well, then there's that. No, I'm kidding.
There's one bathroom.
I have seen great productions at Shakespeare in the Park.
Yeah, it's a good time, but it's prehistoric. You're sitting on a block of stone.
Right.
Yes, you can bring your own wine in, which is kind of fun. Yeah. But it feels like it's just a thing that living in New York you got to do.
What's wrong with a roof? I don't understand the.
Roofs aren't allowed barks.
Are we still on air?
No, we've ceased having a podcast, and now we're just complaining about outside. But wait, I want to talk about something too. This is going to be no trend. This is okay. Also, if you were a mayor, would you allow drugs? And if you did, tell me about your edible story with Elton John.
Okay,
this was a story.
so she's referring to we were talking about edibles somehow, and I said, oh, are we starting? We're starting to record, and you're like. You tell me the story. I said, I'll tell you on air if it comes up. But
it did. Very
Because
naturally.
you said it wasn't with Elton John. Okay. I went to an Elton John concert with my best friend, Liana. This was right before COVID. It was at Barclays Center.
I was there.
Were you there?
I was there.
At
Did
the
you see
Goodbye Yellow? I knew you looked familiar.
I was there.
And we took edibles. And
5, 10, 20?
I don't remember which. I don't. Now, I do remember the very first time I had a pot brownie. It was on the road when I was on tour with Jersey Boys. And I didn't know how it worked. No. It was 40 minutes in, and the one that I took hadn't kicked in. So I had another one. Yes. And nothing was working, and I ended up having, I think, 4 or 5. Now, they were not large. Yeah. But when I tell you that they all hit at once, this is going to make me sound like a drug addict. This is these are two these story has like a decade apart.
You had to go to the hospital.
Well, I didn't have to go to the hospital, but I did. The room was spinning. The next day I woke up. It was our first show in, funny enough, San Diego.
Oh no.
And I couldn't do the show because Jersey Boys has a lot of stairs on the set. Yeah. And we got there, and I got there to sound check. Not only did I smell like a giant bag of pot, but I smelled, it was like pouring at it. I was like sweating. You've had too much, and it's like, it's like coming out of you,
Yes.
and then you start to panic, and everything. It was bad.
And everybody knows. You think
And I'm still
everybody
high
knows.
from that time. This was 2007.
So you called out of the show because you're like, I can't do stairs and I smell bad.
Yes, basically is what I'm saying. I have a hygiene problem and vertigo. No, the Elton John one was basically that I thought it would be fun to take an edible before an Elton John concert.
Yeah.
And it was, but he does like an 8-minute version of Leave On.
Yeah.
Where it goes on for a bit in like a jam band kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I'm standing there with Liana. We're like in the 4th row, and we're so just in it.
Yeah.
And I thought, I went away for a second, and I came back and I said, "Are we still in Leave On?"
Do you feel like you're going
And
crazy?
he said, "Yeah." She said, "Yeah." And then I turned around, and we were the only ones in the arena still standing. And I said, "We should sit down.
We got to sit down.
Yeah.
We got to sit down. Like, you didn't even realize, like, everyone else was like, this is going to go on for a
It
bit.
was
Let's go ahead and
fantastic.
put our feet up.
Listen, they were very nice people. No one yelled at us to sit down.
That's the Elton John crowd.
That's right.
They probably couldn't even see that you were standing up.
Well,
You
sure.
know? They
Sure.
all had the funny glasses on.
Oh, that's right. They all had the.
They
right.
all had the Elton John.
Yeah.
That's really fun. That is the thing that when you get too high and all of a sudden you look around, you're like, just us.
I don't enjoy the drugs. I'm such a prude.
Yeah,
I've
I can't do 'em
only
anymore.
done
Yeah.
that. I've never tried cocaine. I've never tried any of that stuff. But I do find, do you know about these like THC drinks?
My husband has one every night.
Oh, yeah.
He loves them.
They do help going to sleep. I
Yeah.
can't have it every night because it makes for, around like a noon wake up for me the next day.
Right. Oh yeah. Yeah. He's
But they're
up
very
with the
helpful.
toddler, but he is like, it's just calming. We watch Black Doves, which
Sure.
he thinks is a comedy. It's a spy show. You know what? But he
By the
gets
way,
high
is
and
this
he's
when
like,
like
this
Dr.
show's
Phil
terrible.
comes in and like this is an intervention? Like I'm just talking about my drugs.
Kevin's about to come in and tell us that
Great.
it's enough drug talk. But no, we do. He does do that. But since I have a toddler and I'm pregnant currently, I have not. And this is how also know I'm getting older. I haven't not done pot in a long time.
Done
I haven't
pot is
done the
actually
pot.
the giveaway that you're older.
Yes, I have
That
not
phrase.
done the pot, which is crazy because it's like I was a former party girl and now I say done pot. So it is
Right. My mother
we're growing.
still calls it dope.
That's such a better word for it.
Yeah.
Doesn't it sound more hardcore? Like when you hear pot, you're kind of like, all right, but you hear dope and you're like, fuck, that guy's got
Right.
That guy's really working on something.
Right. Yeah. This guy's really working at something.
This guy's going through dope and he's got dope stuff. He's got the stuff happening. He's going to work on dope. What a crazy guy. Okay, I want to talk about your mother because I read the transcript because your mom has a podcast, which is hilarious because I cannot imagine my mother having a podcast. So I already love this.
So what happened was when I was in college, I started a podcast.
Okay.
And I had an arts and entertainment like interview show like this, certainly not as fancy because at the time I was in my dorm room in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and my best friend at college, Dylan, and we created this podcast together, and really we created the podcast so that we could get free advanced CDs, and we were both like huge Ben Folds fans, and we basically thought if we can do this, we can get like free tickets and free
send us
CDs.
stuff, yeah.
And by the way, it worked. Like
Yeah.
Epic Records, I'll never forget, started to send us packages of like advances of
That's amazing.
albums. And I did this podcast, and I would have on, I knew how to write a great, pitch ask letter. And this was in the days of like Friendster and MySpace and all that.
Yeah.
And we had on. I had Donny Osmond on the show. He
Really?
agreed to do it, and I
In
literally
college?
interviewed him over Skype from my dorm room. I don't know what I was doing, but I had this podcast. And then my mom at the time was going through a bit of a career change. She'd been an art director for many, many years here in the city.
Yeah.
Lots of in the fashion world, things like that. And then she ended up as a dresser for the Rockettes for the Christmas show at Radio City for a couple of seasons.
Nice.
And then she had this idea to create a podcast because she loved crafting, arts and crafts.
Yeah.
And she had this show that she remembered from when she was a kid called Fun at One, where she grew up in Connecticut, and there were these like nuns who did crafts on television. How much fun can you have in one?
There's not enough of that.
There's not enough of that
these days. Bring the nuns back.
So she brought she created a podcast and she called it Craftcast. And
Yeah.
what it's grown into at this point, she doesn't do the traditional podcast stuff anymore. What it really is live online classes.
Yeah.
You can study any craft that you want to virtually with like the top teachers in those respective fields. And then if you're not there live, you can buy the recorded class. And
I love it. When I saw the transfer, when it said Craftcast, I was like, oh, his mom was in casting.
Yeah,
I was like, oh no, she knits.
Well,
She
right.
knits. She's
It's
an
not.
knit.
It's not the type of crafts. It's not like pipe cleaner arts and crafts.
Right.
It's not like it. This is like,
it's like
you need a
crochet
kiln for
and
some stuff.
Yes.
It's like real things.
She's got the full blow it, like the
everything, glass blowing, all
yes.
of it. Yes.
Well, I was reading this interview and I love it because you started performing at 10.
I did.
Do you ever feel like that was too late?
Too late. Yes. Oh my God! I had so much more to
you
give
were
when I was
double
8.
digits already. It's like,
Yes.
Jesus Christ, Eric.
Late.
No, but I loved what you had this quote, and it was one of those things because you said something like, I just like about performing, and you're like, I just never thought that, like, I never thought there was something else to do. Like, I didn't know people did anything else than performing. I loved that quote because I think, like I didn't know comedy was a job at first.
It's not.
You're actually
I'm sorry to tell you this now, but it's not.
You sound like my father. And no, but the way that when you talked about it, I was like, that's such a cool thing to have kind of like just been like, I just didn't know you could do anything else. And so it's like, thank God it worked out.
I was an only child, as far as I know. I'm an only child.
Come forward now.
Yeah,
if
really.
You 23andMe.
And by the way, did you get your data off 23andMe? They're telling you.
I never did it.
Oh, you never did it?
I never did it.
I have to remind myself to do it because I still have everything's uploaded.
Yeah, they'll get you.
Oh yeah. I didn't know. I truly did not know.
You said you thought people went to work and then everybody just had rehearsal after.
Because I was obsessed with. I was
such a funny
I grew
concept
up
that
in
everybody's
Chelsea.
at rehearsal.
Well, yes, because I grew up in the middle of New York City.
Yeah.
I grew up in the middle of my dad and mom met in acting class. They actually met in this thing called EST, which was a very kind of new agey. Like a self-help. I think now it's called Landmark.
I did it.
You did Landmark?
Oh my God, I fucking did it in LA. Yeah.
Oh, you did? Well, of course you did in LA.
I'm very cult susceptible. Like if somebody's like, this is a better way to live your
That's
life,
a
I'm
thing?
like, how many monies can I give you?
Cult susceptible.
I'm cult susceptible. Oh yeah, I
Wow.
did Bikram. I did all like that's actually the
Wait,
part
is
of
Bikram a cult?
Well, the guy kind of got a. I mean,
heard
there
about
is.
that.
I mean, that's the kind of true crime I like. I like kind of weird cult
Bikram.
stuff.
Is the kind of true crime you like? That is.
I like the hot yoga true crime. That's as far as I go these days. But no, I did Landmark. But Est was a little more hardcore. They wouldn't even let you go to the bathroom.
Right, the big thing. Everyone was talking about is that you couldn't pee for hours.
That's the whole thing. Landmark, they do let you pee, as far as I'm concerned now.
That's a new development.
At least as of 20 years ago, they let you pee. Yeah.
So they met doing that. They were part of something here called the Actors Institute.
Yeah.
And they they were both artists. They both loved music. I mean, there were so many records in the house.
Yeah,
I
just
inherited.
part
yes,
of you growing up.
The vinyl collection I inherited is just incredible because it has, like Peter, Paul and Mary and James Taylor and Joni Mitchell, and then Broadway cast albums.
Yeah.
And so there was always music on in the house, and they could tell that I had a lot of energy when I was growing up, and that I was kind of obsessed with. I discovered MTV and VH1, and the first thing I remember seeing was the video for "We Are the World." And
with everybody.
with everyone,
So
everyone,
you're like,
including
everybody's doing this.
LaToya Jackson. I mean, everyone's in this thing.
Even
Kim
LaToya.
Carnes, even LaToya, Kim Carnes. These are the names that always make me laugh about We Are the World. Kim Carnes, LaToya
Yes.
Jackson, Dan Aykroyd.
Obviously. Big singer.
Great singer.
He was a blues brother.
Sure, but but I started to do the impressions of all the different singers.
Even
and that
LaToya?
became probably less LaToya. I don't think is there somebody who does a LaToya impression?
I don't think so.
It's
just
like-
LaToya.
it's just LaToya. But I started to do impressions of Bruce and Bob Dylan and Willie Nelson was one that was really fun to impersonate, and I would do it for my parents' friends at their dinner parties.
Yeah.
And they could tell that I had kind of glommed onto music and instantly, I was obsessive with music.
Yeah.
When I was 4 years old, they brought me to my first concert was Whitney Houston at Madison Square Garden.
I've read that. That's I'm very jealous.
It was
MSG, Whitney, all of it.
unbelievable.
My first concert was New Kids on the Block.
Oh, well, that's around the same time.
Yeah.
I mean, New Kids were fantastic. They
were.
still are.
Not as iconic as they still are.
Yeah.
But Whitney Houston at MSG, like,
it was great. I mean,
cool.
it was wild, and to see that energy live and be a part of that, I instantly fell in love with it. But I was obsessed with the videos. I didn't know anything about acting. I didn't know anything about musicals. I didn't know anything about that. I just knew I wanted to be Michael Jackson. That's all I knew.
Yeah.
And I remember I would film. There was a video of Michael performing "Man in the Mirror" that the video was obviously filmed over several nights of him performing this song at different concerts, and they edited it together so he was in different outfits in this video. And I didn't know about the concept of editing. So I would perform the song in the loft, and mid-song I would be changing jackets. I'd be doing quick change, but for everyone to see. It wasn't like I hid behind something.
Yeah.
I just remember all of those concepts were entering into my brain at once, and I was trying to put together, how do I be that? How do I do that?
Yeah.
And I just recreated what I saw without asking questions. And that's kind of where I found myself today. I do the same thing. I kind of am just trying to get to what I saw on TV between 1986 and 1989 and trying to get there in my mind. I'm trying to do that.
Yeah. I mean, you've had a ton of success. I wonder, and especially, you know, I also read that Boop, like, was your first true opening night?
On Broadway, yeah.
Yeah.
Boop was the first time
Did that feel anywhere like close to getting towards this, like, kind of 19? I mean, I know it's not the same thing. It's not like, but it's like it's a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, I've been a part of opening nights before, but I've never. This is my first opening night on Broadway, because the other Broadway shows I've done, I was a replacement. Yeah. I think every time feels like a little bit closer to
being Michael Jackson in 1989.
Yeah,
I love it. Do you have a celebratory drink or a food that you do, like, for opening night? Do you treat yourself to anything?
Ooh, a celebratory drink for opening night.
Yeah.
I don't.
Or do you get nervous because there's stairs the next day? You're like, I can't get too fucked up.
Well, it's like Elaine Stritch says at the beginning of her show. It's like the prostitute once said, it's not the work, it's the stairs.
It's the stairs.
And that's how I feel about Boop. I think I'm on stage in Boop for all of like 11 minutes.
Right.
But the amount of calories I burn just getting to my dressing room.
I've heard the backstage at these theaters are just like full nightmares.
Oh, we have it organized. God bless our dressers and our crew.
Yeah.
But between the mold and the stairs, I've never been more unhealthy and healthy at the same time.
And the mold and the stairs. But so is there a drink you do?
Not really. I'm so not a foodie. I don't care about food.
You just eat it.
I just eat. I don't know how food happens. I wouldn't know what to cook or make. I don't get it. I thank God for my...
food happens is a really funny sentence.
I don't. I like literally everything my girlfriend makes is the greatest food I've ever had. And half of that's just because I don't know how this... Because it's food.
You're hungry.
I don't know how this would exist. I don't even register that I'm hungry sometimes. I don't think about food. I never think about food or drink. I don't know. I don't. I mean, I love a Manhattan, but
classic.
That makes me happy.
Yeah.
I could be happy the rest of my life with a Manhattan, and then, you know, like when you're at like Bemelman's at the Carlisle and they put those
the little dips and chips, or the chips and the crunchies.
The chips and the crunchies that are in the three dishes with the handle that you can. I want all. That's what I want. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
What even are those? You can't get. I don't see them at the stores. They have special crunchies there. I love Bemelman's so much, and it's so expensive, and it's such a treat, but it's such like I just always feel so like grown up when I'm there. Because you did a little stint at Cafe Carlisle.
I did. Yes.
How was that? And they let you stay there when you do your shows there?
Even though I live pretty close by, I stayed there.
Stay there.
You absolutely have to stay there.
I mean, that's like another New York institution.
That felt like, you talk about 1989, that felt like this is what I was after that whole time.
Yeah.
I mean, this, when you know, they announce your name and you walk on stage at the Carlisle for, you know, the 89 people that room can hold. That feels like the biggest room in the world. I mean, it's the most special.
You're like making eye contact.
Oh, it was, yeah.
And this is the first one coming out of the pandemic? You
Yeah,
opened up,
I
or you opened up
reopened-
some
I
season.
reopened
Yeah,
that
right?
new season,
That's
yeah.
so awesome.
And I got to work, I've gotten now in my life, I've gotten to work with a lot of the people who were very influential on me growing up, being obsessed with pop music in my work as a producer and a director,
Yes.
Clive Davis being a major one. And I looked down and, you know, in the audience was Clive, you know, at my Cafe Carlisle show. So who, by the way, Whitney, you know, he
it's
really
all coming full circle.
It was very full circle.
You are 1989.
Believe me,
You're getting
I am. That is the last time I felt contemporary was 1989. It tells you how square I am.
So I want to talk about the stuff that you produced, but I do have another question, kind of regarding like this whole concept of you being a performer, because, like you said, you've been at it since you were 10. You've had success, but was there ever a backup plan, or were you planning, or you were like, I'll go gig to gig until I die if this is how it goes?
It wasn't even that well thought out. I like failed my way out of school. I flunked it. I mean, I was
That's the best way to do it.
worst. Well,
Well, that's how you know, like, you're like, I'm meant for something else.
yeah, it wasn't. I try when I've talked about this before, but I always feel like I sound like a dick when I say it. It's not meant to be that way. I knew what I was going to do with my life.
You knew it.
And I knew that I was going to be successful at it. I never said it was never about money. I never said I'd make $1 million doing this. I never said I never was like, I'm going to win 18 Grammys. It was the doing it. It wasn't the recognition of doing it.
Perform.
It was the doing it that I knew that's what I was going to do.
Yeah.
I didn't even know really what I was going to do. I just knew that I was going to be something that makes the event. I thought of myself first as a performer, and then I realized later on in my life, as I started producing, I was like, oh, that thing that I was doing when I was 5 years old, writing dream set lists for my favorite artist dream concerts, like in my mind, that was me producing. I didn't even realize I was doing it then.
Yeah. So
and
it
that's
makes
what I would
school
do.
a little less serious, because you're like, this is not.
It just wasn't interesting to me.
It's not interesting.
When I was in science class, and all of a sudden you're learning about the table of elements.
Who cares?
I truly.
You only need to know that for
care.
crossword puzzles. That's the only reason why you need to know any of those names.
But what's interesting now is I've gotten older.
Yeah.
Now I would love to go back, because there are times
And
now.
learn.
Well, yeah, because I tell you, I will be in conversations and I feel like such an idiot.
Same.
My girlfriend is so smart. Like, she went to Georgetown, business school, all of this, and she will say things and I'll just go like,
And you're like, I don't know where food comes from.
I don't know where food comes from. I truly don't understand these things.
Oh, yeah.
So I would love to go back and, learn certain things now. Science,
Yeah.
But no, I just knew that I was going to do this in some capacity. I didn't even know how successfully. I just knew somehow what I was going to do with my life. And the weird thing is, my parents knew it too, and my teachers knew it. Like, everyone seemed to kind of be on board with it, which is why even principals and other teachers would be like, look, he's
not for him.
It's not for him.
Yeah.
It just that was my story. I don't recommend it to other people. It was also a product of the world that I was living in, right? Everything was possible at that time. I grew up in Chelsea. I remember when I was like 4 or 5 years old, maybe a little older, I was at my one of my friends, her parents' house on 17th Street, and there was like a party that her parents were throwing. Maybe it was a birthday party. And I heard in the corner, and I was like, that voice said, what is that? And you know who it was? When you see a big sign on the side of the road.
Stop.
It was Fred Schneider from the B-52s.
Yeah.
Just hanging out at the party. I was 5, 6 years old.
This was just the world you were in.
That was the world I lived in.
Yeah.
I lived in a world where it was that era of artists and crossing over between Broadway and cabaret and television and celebrity and all of that stuff. It was it surrounded me a little bit.
Yeah.
We weren't a family who had any money. We weren't a family who knew a lot of famous people or anything like that. But there was
You were art rich.
We were art rich.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Which is, I used to dance under that name. But art rich.
Art rich.
From 79th Street. But yeah, it's just, it was all around me, and it was fed to me. It wasn't forced upon me, but it was all around me. And that's because my parents were just brilliant at how to give that to
And they
me.
made it a priority.
They made art
Which I
a
think
priority.
not
absolutely.
a lot of people do, and more people should. You know, it
Sure.
is. It's. I think it's good for humans.
Yeah,
To
absolutely.
be to know and listen and.
Yeah.
You know.
One would think.
One would think.
Yeah.
Because I know that there was like one of the first, because you've produced like numerous, during the pandemic, you did a bunch of Zoom events.
Yeah.
And then now you've produced like just huge concerts and benefits and PSAs and all this stuff, just working with like the most famous people in the entire world. But I think the first one you did the Rosie O'Donnell one over the pandemic for the Actors Fund.
It was right after. So Madam Secretary had ended. Right at the end of 2019, I think the final episode aired in January of 2020, and it was pilot season. So I was like now going out for new shows, and then we had heard about this thing, COVID. We didn't know what was going on, and then slowly but surely, we started to be like, oh, this is real. And I was sitting in my apartment on the day, that Thursday, that they announced that Broadway would be shut down for, at that point, 30 days.
I saw a show that Wednesday night.
What'd you see?
6.
Oh, the night before their opening night.
Saw 6, went to Bar Centrale, had an extra martini because I was like, I think this might be it, kids.
Right.
I think this might be it.
That's right. And it was the next night.
It was the next night.
And they, I think it was that night, I was still on Twitter at the time, and Rosie O'Donnell and I followed each other.
Yeah.
And I knew how important the Rosie show was to the theater community overall, but especially post 9/11.
I loved it growing up.
It was...
She had a chin hair and a koosh ball, and it was like, this is all a girl could want when she's homesick from school.
It was the perfect show to watch.
It was the perfect show.
And she was so important to Broadway, and I just thought, okay, who's the best person to kind of handle this at this time? And Rosie sent me a message back that said, if you put it together, I'll do it.
Yeah.
And I said, great, I'll put this together. I called Lori McCreary, who was the producer of Madam Secretary, and she's Morgan Freeman's producing partner, and the two of them produced Madam Secretary together. And she came from the tech world. And I said, is there a piece of software where people can like Skype and do all these things? And she's like, I don't know, but talk to our person at YouTube.
Before Zoom really...
It's really before Zoom took off.
Yeah.
And I was put in contact with someone at YouTube, and YouTube recommended this, and one thing led to another. All of a sudden, on March 22nd of 2020, we did the Rosie O'Donnell show.
Early on pandemic.
It was the first 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And that one event, the next morning, my life changed. There were 8 phone calls
like,
that
do
I
this again for us.
Right.
That's insane.
And one of them was Benj Pasek and Alex Edelman, who asked me to work with them on the Saturday Night Seder, and we created that, and we did... the third thing I did was a UNICEF thing that I actually produced with Taya Leone of Madam Secretary.
Yeah, she's great.
And we got that as soon as we aired that on YouTube, I guess, for UNICEF. MSNBC said, can we put this on MSNBC this upcoming Saturday night? So all of a sudden I was producing for television. So one thing led to another, and I ended up creating this production company that stepped in to help nonprofits do their annual galas in a virtual setting.
Yeah.
Which was a wild thing, because also at that time, everyone was available, right? No one was working. Everyone was at home.
Even playing field, yeah.
And a lot of people didn't have because the work had kind of dried up, a lot of their people's teams had gone away.
Right.
So there were no longer publicists or agents and things like that.
Direct to the source.
It was literally like, I'm not working with her currently, but here's her email. And all of a sudden I was on emails with everyone you could think of.
Yeah.
And that I was then asked that summer to produce 4 virtual fundraising events for Speaker Pelosi.
Yeah.
That John Legend was helping her do. And
Barack Obama was on those.
Yeah. At one point I ended up... Well, I ended up in a Zoom room, a private Zoom room with the President Obama and the Chicks, formerly known as the Dixie Chicks.
Yes.
And it's just me, the Chicks and President Obama, and we're waiting to be brought into the main room where all the people are. And at one point, well, right, I literally was like, and at one point,
weather, huh?
Right,
weather.
Well, the president broke the ice. He said something like,
which is his job.
He is
the right person to break the ice.
He's really the only person to break the ice.
He's the only person.
He said something like, "So the Chicks, huh?" And they said, "Yeah." He's like, "Why'd you get rid of Dixie?" And I was like, this is not my life. This can't possibly be my life. By the way, they had a great answer.
Yeah.
And but I just like that, he was up on knowing that they had dropped the first half of their name. I don't know.
They did.
So I did a lot in that world, and then it was like, we started to go back into the real world, and I made that transition into
so crazy.
the real world.
And you've done like Central Park things. You did a Sondheim thing in after he passed, and you did the big. You did Clyde Davis's thing, and then you've also done like commercials with
done a lot of things.
You've done a lot of things.
There's a lot of things.
You've raised a lot of money.
Yeah, I try to stay that part of it. I try to stay out of because I found myself like I have to be in charge of the show. I can't
also be in charge of that.
I have no clue how to raise money.
I was going to ask you if you wanted to do a fundraiser for my unborn baby.
Well, the answer is
because I'd like to live in New York City a little longer.
Well, I can't raise that kind of money. No, I see white planes in your future.
Yeah, I'll see.
Yeah.
Don't say white planes.
I see white planes.
That's where everyone from my neighborhood
I'm
moves.
sorry, let me correct myself. I see
New
white
Rochelle.
planes in your
white planes.
White planes.
But I just love that because I loved the kind of initial thing was that you said with Actors Fund because they had helped you pay rent one time.
Yeah.
And I just didn't know if you had ever tried having Idina Menzel sing a song about a cow. instead of raising money, because that was a big thing too. You could have tried squatting.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the Actors Fund, now it's called the Entertainment Community Fund. Look, I mean, they're a godsend,
Totally.
And I think a lot of the organizations that I have done a lot of work for, God's Love We Deliver, UNICEF. I do a lot of events with the Global Lyme Alliance, which does incredible work for Lyme disease. Like, one of the best parts in doing a lot of these galas and a lot of the entertainment side of the nonprofit world has been learning about what these organizations can do.
Yeah.
Because I think that we hear about these agencies and organizations that do great things, but it's like, no, you kind of like, if you are able to go and deliver meals with God's Love We Deliver, that's kind of a life-changing experience. If you can volunteer there, I think that it's been, it really changed me. First of all, it gave me a new career at a time when it was very hard to work.
Yeah.
And it's now, literally half of what I do, if not more. I mean, most of my time is spent behind the scenes.
It's booping and it's unicefing.
It is. It's booping at night and unicefing in the day.
Giving food during the day.
It's truly. I mean, but even so, Joan Rivers was a big fan of God's Love We Deliver. She was on their board, and when she won Celebrity Apprentice, she played for God's Love. And they had been wanting to do a tribute to her in some way ever since she had passed.
I know. I saw you did a comedy tribute. I was available. I don't know what happened.
I didn't know you existed.
I didn't know what happened, but next time.
But next time we pay tribute to Joan.
But I saw that, and I loved that you were part of that, because it's like she kicked the door down for women like me. She talked about abortion on Johnny Carson so that I could talk about IVF in Chelsea. Like at Gotham.
But she was also, yes, she kicked down the doors and all that, but at the end of the day, she was a brilliant joke teller.
She was amazing.
The timing and the figuring out of what words are funny, what sounds are funny. True comic.
Yeah.
And I think that we did this thing. We did this one night tribute to her, and we sold it to NBC as a special air on May 13th on NBC, and then there's an uncut version on Peacock starting the next day. And that's my first time executive producing for network television, and I couldn't have asked for a better. It was a wild night. To do something like that, to make people laugh at that. We also filmed it. We filmed it November 7th, which I believe was 48 hours after the election.
Ooh.
So it was an interesting thing to do.
So people needed it.
It was an interesting thing to do comedy 2 days after the election. Yeah, that was a really interesting
I think it took me like a week. I think I needed a couple days. I was like, I'm not sure. But the minute I got back on stage, I was like, I needed that.
Well, that was the thing. We were worried about how's the audience going to react? How are the comics going to react?
No.
People needed it. They jumped right into it.
Yes. Are you a fan of comedy? Like, do you prefer like the older comedy, or are you kind of in with like the newer?
I love comedy. I love comedy.
Yeah.
I tend to like truly like written out humor. Like I the stuff that makes me, I mean, the Nichols and May stuff, you know, old Woody Allen stuff, old, I mean, even watching, you know, some of Jerry Seinfeld stuff, and even, I mean, you know, who's one of the great joke tellers is Jay Leno. I mean, I love watching people craft jokes. Don Rickles, Joan, Phyllis Diller. I mean, that type of stuff makes me laugh. I love watching on YouTube. There's a great thing where Jerry Lewis brings back Dean Martin after
those old roasts were
they're just genius,
so funny.
And this, I think, was on the telethon. They hadn't seen each other in a million years, and Sinatra, as a surprise, brings Dino out to Jerry Lewis, and they have this very emotional reunion, and there's crying, and then they start cracking jokes, and it's just the funniest thing, spontaneous you've ever heard. But I also love watching some of the newer people. There's someone I follow on Instagram, Jessica
Curson.
Oh my God.
She's the best. I'm so excited that she's catching now because she's been at it for a long time and she is truly hilarious.
But when I watch her on Instagram, I get so nervous because
she's doing the crowd work.
It's the crowd work, and you don't know what you're going to get any given night.
But she's
and
a professional.
I, as a performer, start to get
there's no lines.
There's nothing there. Where are you going to grab that next bit from?
Yeah.
And she does it in a way that is so just funny.
Yeah.
Funny, and she's not a typical joke teller. I mean, she really is true.
She does voices. She does this whole thing, and she's doing. She's incredibly funny, and I'm so excited that she's.
Mateo Lane is one that makes me laugh. Sebastian Maniscalco. I got to see him live.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
Just his face. Like he just comes out and does like his face, and you're like, this guy.
It's just so funny.
Yeah.
I love all of it. I don't have the balls to be a comedian. I mean, I know what to do when something is written for me that's funny.
Yeah, because I was like, because you're very funny in Boop. Like it is, you are like when you break that fourth wall too, when you have to kind of like, there's like that like the
Don't give
joke.
it away.
I'm not going to give it away, but there's that joke, and you break the fourth wall, and it's so needed in that moment, and you sell it so well, and you sell that whole song.
But I couldn't do that without the line, without Bob Martin's brain.
Yeah,
I am. I mean, I know comedy, but I'm an actor.
Yes.
I'm not a comedian.
Yeah.
And that's because of the teachers that I had growing up. They taught me they taught me about comedy acting.
Right.
And that was something that I had to learn.
Hard.
It's very hard.
That's why I actually find you see a lot of comedians kind of step more into serious roles because I think it's almost easier for us to like turn it off for a minute.
Totally.
Because it's one thing like doing your stuff, but it's kind of hard almost for, I think, comedians, not speaking for every single one, but like to almost step into other people's funny words because you're just so used to doing your own stuff. So,
right. Well, that was one of the questions we had when we were doing the Joan special. We wanted to pay tribute to her. It's not like when you do, a tribute to Joni Mitchell and you do the music of Joni Mitchell.
Right.
How do you do other people's comedy material? So we had to find a way so that Nikki Glaser and all these contemporary comedians could do Joan's material-ish.
Yeah.
We had to figure that out. That was a very hard thing. And that was Chris Convey and David Jammey and Melissa Rivers and I stood back and kind of watched them at work, but it was amazing to see how they figured it out.
Thank you for supporting live comedy.
Oh, I do what I can.
Your patronage. Okay, so I have a question for you, and then I have a little game, and then we're going to do our hot scene cold read.
Sure.
So if you could only go back to one role, the TV or stage, which one would you go back to?
Of mine that I've already done?
Yeah.
Oh man, I don't know that I would.
You done? You did them all.
I think that it's very. I think going back is always like, without naming names, when you see people do a reboot of something, you always go like, it's not in you anymore. Like you're not that person anymore.
Yeah.
We did 6 seasons of Madam Secretary. I loved playing Blake, and I did exactly. And if they called and said, "Would you do a reboot?" Yes, of course. I have a mortgage, but like. And I love, more than anything, I love every single one of those people, and we had the greatest time making it. And I would give anything to, have a day with them all again.
Right.
But I don't know that I have anything much to add to that character other than nostalgia.
Right.
And I love moments of nostalgia. I can watch. I'll start to cry just thinking about it, but like. Tracy Chapman coming out at the Grammys last year with what's his
Oh,
name?
yeah.
Who did
Fast Car.
Fast Car.
Yeah, I can't think of his name either.
It was, what's his name? Why can't I think of his name right now?
I don't remember either. Luke?
He's Luke Bryan? No, it can't be Luke. Luke Combs?
I think so.
It could be Luke Combs.
I think it's Luke Combs.
It was so genius.
Yeah.
And it was a moment of new and nostalgia and that kind of that warm
Nostalgia's supposed
feeling.
to hurt. Like part of the definition of nostalgia is that it's like, it's a familiarity with a little bit of pain.
Right.
Which is like a good feeling, but also you're like, fuck, I'm getting older.
Right.
Time keeps going.
But you don't want to live in it. Maybe you want that as a moment, and you want that as like that 4 minutes of, oh my God, it's like watching a cast reunion at an award show. You see, who's got the work done, who hasn't, who's aged well, who hasn't. All that's fun, but I don't want to live in that.
Right.
Jersey Boys, when Jersey Boys came out, it was the Hamilton of its time. It was the hottest ticket in town. It was the greatest show. People were obsessed with it. They just come over and over and over again. And I loved doing it. Every single night I did Jersey Boys was the greatest night of my life. To be on that stage and to sing those songs.
That's like just music too that I don't know. I don't get sick. I truly actually like love that music.
I do too. I still listen to those songs just on
not sick of them.
I'm not sick of them.
Yeah.
But the idea of like, if I had to go back and do Jersey Boys again, it would feel to me like it would be like
it would not be the greatest night of your life.
It would not be the greatest night of my life. No, and it would be like with a little bit of like a wink to the audience of like, I know we've been here. This isn't where we are. I don't know. I love nostalgia.
Yeah.
I don't want to necessarily
go back.
When
you're done, you're done.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's totally fair. But I do want to talk about 3 of your stage characters and play a little game. Billy Flynn, because you were in Chicago.
Yeah.
Dr. Palmer, because you're in Waitress. And then, I forget if it's Demarest or Demarest.
Oh, Raymond Demarest.
Demarest. Okay. So I've got Billy Flynn, Dr. Palmer, and Raymond Demarest. And I have a couple things, and you're going to just say who would do this.
Yes.
So who has never read a book as an adult? Which character?
Demarest.
Who drinks vanilla lattes?
Palmer.
Yes, he does. Whose biggest fear is falling asleep on the subway and being eaten by a rat?
Palmer.
Whose favorite food is vodka?
Billy Flynn.
Who watches Sex in the City unironically?
Palmer.
Who's MAGA?
All 3. Yes.
Oh my gosh. Okay. And now,
who's MAGA?
Who's MAGA? My friend, I have a little hot scene cold read for you. This is from a little meet cute. A scene that from a little known play called That's My Coffee, and it only ran for 1 hour.
No, I saw it at the Algonquin Playhouse.
Yes. So I'll start it off, and then you're the second person. All right. Oh, sorry. I think you grabbed my latte.
Oh, you also drink raspberry soy oat decaf. What is that word?
That's a latteato. Latteatos.
What's a latteato?
It's your drink. It's our drink. Yeah, they're my favorite since college. Hey, wait a second. You look familiar. Did you go to SUNY Oswego?
I didn't, but you also look very familiar. Are you friends with Mary, Kate, and Ashley Olsen, the Olsen triplets?
Do you mean the Olsen twins?
No. I mean Mary, Kate, and Ashley Olsen, the Onetta triplets who are heirs to their Wet Seal mini fortune.
Oh, I can't say I know them, but I'm sure we've met. Was it at the GGA meeting? The Go-Gurts Anonymous?
No. No. That's not it. I mean, sure, I indulge, but I wouldn't say I have a problem. Oh, I know. It was at the TLC Con at the Childless Fans of Toddlers and Tiaras events.
I think I might have missed that one. Wait, I got it. It must have been the Sarah McLachlan Sad Songs for Sad Animals Gala. Did you go to that?
Sadly, that wasn't me. That is a great cause, though.
Yeah.
Maybe if I tell you my name, it will help. It's
Don't tell me. It's
Greg.
Grog.
Wait, I'm so sorry. You think my name is Grog? You think we met and my name is Grog?
I don't know. I know someone named Grog.
Wait, that's where I know you. The party at Grog's house.
Yes, Greg from Grog's party.
That's me. I'm Greg.
We did it.
Who wrote this?
My husband and I.
On an edible?
He was.
Or one of those drinks?
He was on his drink, yeah.
Now, here's the question.
This is how we connect as partners. We write.
You and I, or you and your husband?
Me and my husband.
Oh.
We write hot scenes for my guests.
Is there someone named Grog out there who's going to be offended?
I don't think any no Grogs were personally harmed in the making of this scene.
Hot scene.
And he had a party. He's a good guy.
Here, let me tell you how my brain works, though.
Okay.
You say, I know it was at TLC Con. I thought you meant the band.
Band, yeah. I know. We had VH1 Con at first, but then we thought TLC had a lot better shows.
I understand.
Yeah.
VH1 was where it was at. See, MTV growing up, it was too hardcore for me. I liked it a little softer.
I liked a little pop-up video.
A pop-up video.
Bring it back.
Yeah,
We're
truly.
writing letters. Okay, and then this is the last question. It is a bit of a horoscope of sorts.
Oh, no.
It is from a classic musical called Cats, and I need to know which cat are you, Erich Bergen, most attracted to? Which Jellicle cat really does it for you?
Can I tell you something? I never saw Cats. I've never seen Cats.
It's awful.
No.
It's a terrible show.
Can't run for that many years and be bad.
I don't know why. Okay.
Have you seen it?
Yeah, I saw it when it came back a couple years ago, and it was actually my first time, and I was like, I hate cats.
Oh, but
I hate it.
my friend Jacob Brent was, I think, Mr. Mustafa. I don't know. He's in the original. He's in the video of Cats, and he tells me such crazy stories of when he did Cats. Wait, what was the question?
The question is, when you pick one, then you get a horoscope.
Okay, so I have to pick a cat?
You have to pick a cat.
Tell me.
Which one do you want to do? Mr.
I don't know. I don't know the characters.
Okay, so there's a theater cat.
Oh, Gus.
That's Gus.
Yes, I knew that.
There's Buster Jones. He's a fat upper class cat. There's Bumblearina. She's flirty and she's a queen and she's friends and she doesn't like the bad guy. And then Demeter is her like sidekick. Jenny and Dots. She like seems lazy, but like at night she actually has this crazy like. She runs like a business or something. Grisabella, she's memory.
Right.
Mr. Mistopheles, he's magic. Rum Tum Tugger is the sexy one that grinds.
Right.
Skimble Shanks is the railway cat. He works on a train. Old Deuteronomy is the guy that picks the one that's going to go to heaven. And Mungo, Jerry, and Rumple Teaser, they're like trouble.
Sure.
McCavity's the bad guy, and then Victoria is like the white cat. She's like a little young, saucy little thing.
Well, let's do Mistopheles. Let's go big.
Okay, so you, Mr. Mistopheles, that means that you share misinformation on the internet, and I'm very sorry to tell you that, but the cards don't lie.
So it's me on the theater Reddit this whole time.
They're like, you know what Erich Bergen's been saying on the Reddits? That was the end of our interview. I so appreciate you doing this.
Thank you for having me.
Please tell people, besides going and seeing you boop your face off, please
Yeah.
tell people how they can support you and where they can follow you.
OnlyFans. Because if this show doesn't run, that's where I'll be.
He's got feet, guys. He's doing feats.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. Oh, I'm only doing feet. Yeah. Where you can follow me on Instagram. It's the only social media I have is Instagram, ErichBergen. And I'm threatening to quit that every single day. So please be kind to me on there.
Every day.
I am a fragile boy.
Erich Bergen, thank you guys so much. Rate, review, subscribe to the Internet Mommies podcast.
Don't review this. I'm begging you not to review this.
Review only this one. Don't listen to any
God.
other episodes. Only Erich Bergen. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next week. Bye.